There's been a lot of issues with Trump appointees not delivering on promises, but former Democrat Tulsi Gabbard seems to be different, as President Trump recently alluded to arresting President Obama.
Who should the DOJ target as part of their investigation? What specific figures?
The leader of the gang was President Obama, Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? It's there. He's guilty. This was treason.
And today, Tulsi laid out the evidence, which of course CNN is censoring.
Of the U.S. election. On December 5th.
We've been listening there to the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, continuing to attempt to back up the quite extreme allegation that President Obama is guilty of treason and that he worked.
As this is what CNN doesn't want you to know.
The stunning revelations that we are releasing today should be of concern to every American. This is not about Democrats or Republicans. There is irrefutable evidence that detail how President Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false. In the January 2017 intelligence community assessment that President Obama ordered, John Brennan, who was CIA director at the time, and the intelligence community intentionally suppressed intelligence that showed Putin was saving the most damaging material that he had in his possession about Hillary Clinton until after her potential and likely victory. There were high-level DNC emails that detailed evidence of Hillary's, quote, psycho-emotional problems, uncontrolled fits of anger, aggression, and cheerfulness, and that then Secretary Clinton was allegedly on a daily regimen of heavy tranquilizers. The intelligence community mischaracterized intelligence and relied on dubious, substandard sources to create a contrived false narrative that Putin developed a quote-unquote clear preference for Trump.
With Tulsi actually referring this for prosecution.
Do you believe that any of this new information implicates former President Obama in criminal behavior?
We have referred and will continue to refer all of these documents to the Department of Justice and the FBI to investigate the criminal implications of this.
For even former
the
President
evidence,
Obama?
Correct.
As Trump is actually reposting AI videos of Obama being arrested. Now, CNN is desperate to control the narrative on this.
This is hardly information that we should even be repeating. Never mind that it's, some years after the fact, 8 years more than that after the fact.
As their article on these accusations of treason, annotated, which unfortunately is the top results when searching on Google, immediately opens up with, "This evidence is wildly misleading," ending the article with a quote from Trump about how he won by a landslide with their reply, "It was far from a landslide," referencing their own article from 2024, where even they admit they won't know the final results for another month. Never mind the fact that they already knew Trump won every single swing state, with every single state swinging in favor of the Republicans, and the final count just corrected that Trump didn't win by 3.8 million votes, it was a measly 2.3 million votes. CNN just refuses to let the facts get in the way of their pre-existing narrative. It's like they write their headlines first, then try to circle back if they can, otherwise they just cite their last lies, hoping you won't actually look at them. As they recently cried, "There's no evidence Obama committed treason."
Why are we talking about this? This is not the issue. You're trying to avoid the subject.
President Obama said that Russia did not manipulate any votes. We should note that because every liberal in America said that was the case.
All right,
noted.
You're doing everything possible not to talk about the fact that the President of the United States, the current President of the United States, just accused a former president of treason and suggested a prosecution of that former president with no evidence. That is the problem.
And now that our Director of National Intelligence dropped some evidence, CNN doesn't even want to show their viewers what this evidence is, as again, those pesky facts are getting in the way of what they want you to think. Never mind the notion that they were all upset over going after former presidents criminally when they themselves ripped that seal off. As remember, when Trump debated Hillary in 2016, he suggested she be jailed.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Yeah, because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
But once he got in office, he dropped it.
And everybody said, lock her up, and I used to go easy, just easy. Then we won. And I said, wouldn't it be terrible? And you know, some people are upset when I did this, but you have to look at it maybe differently now. I say, wouldn't it be terrible to put the wife of the president, former president of the United States, into a prison?
Trump supporters were initially angry, but there was a semblance of normalcy when he didn't go after her, and I honestly prefer that period, but Trump going after Obama is something they set up themselves. But shielding their viewers from reality is nothing new for CNN, as they've been covering for the Democrats forever.
Remember, it's illegal to possess these stolen documents. It's different for the media, so everything you learn about this, you're learning from us.
They think it's dangerous for their viewers to access evidence before they sanitize it with their own spin and possibly referencing articles that headline their last lies, as MSNBC does the same.
2 separate judges affirmed Garcia was a member of MS-13, which is a gang that may be even worse.
We've been watching President Donald Trump there swearing in.
And has been for a while.
I need to say that former President Trump has just started making public remarks, just as he did on the evening of his first arraignment on criminal charges. That was April, when he was booked on 34 felony counts brought by the state of New York. We knew heading into this that he was planning to make these remarks. We are prepared for his pre-fundraiser remarks tonight to again be essentially a Trump campaign speech. Because of that, we do not intend to carry these remarks live. As we have said before in these circumstances, there is a cost to us as a news organization to knowingly broadcast untrue things. We and other news organizations have generally stopped giving an unfiltered live platform to remarks by former President Trump. It is not out of spite. It is not a decision that we relish. It is a decision that we regularly revisit, but there is a cost to us as a news organization of knowingly broadcasting untrue things.
Right? Instead of the virus being able to hop from person to person to person, potentially mutating and becoming more virulent and drug resistant along the way, now we know that the vaccines work well enough that the virus stops with every vaccinated person.
As watching these corporate mainstream media outlets actually make you dumber and less informed than had you just watched Bluey instead. And side note, I just watched that show with my niece and it was incredibly captivating for both of us, so please explain to me why in the comment section. But all this is distracting from the fact that the Trump administration may actually go after President Obama, but after the whole Epstein Files debacle, my confidence level is sitting at a 2 out of 5,000. So if you appreciate my concise, light-order commentary on the tragic status that is today's reality, subscribe to Decoy Voice.